Welcome back. Thanks for watching. Assemblyman Gary Chisano stopped by in our Mugs Media studio to tell us what's going on in Trenton and what we can expect while looking at school budgets in our schools this month. Take a look. Gary, it's nice to see you back in our Mugs Media studio.
Thank you.
In April coming up, we have school budgets. Let's talk about that.
Well, this year, the governor has put in an additional $250 million in additional funding to the schools versus last year. And last year, granted, the funding was down as a result of losing $1.2 billion in federal funding. But this year, the governor has put in additional $250 million into the school budgets. So every one of the schools in our district will be receiving an increase in their funding from the state.
What would you say to taxpayers about school budgets?
I think that the schools in our area are doing an outstanding job. When you consider, just this morning, we listened to Governor Christie speak about Perth Amboy spending $33,000 a year per student. Newark, $25,000 a year per student. In Sparta, $12,000 a year per student. And some of our other schools in our district are doing an outstanding job. I think with the challenges they face in that a lot of our monies go down to those urban districts, those Abbott districts, we're getting some additional funding that I think will be well spent by our people who are overseeing the budgets at the school board level.
And what do you think our local schools are going to be faced with school budgets?
I think they'll be faced with the challenge of teachers who might be looking for an increase in salary that they probably can't afford to do right now, even though they are contractually obligated to do so. Those who are coming up for contracts may be asked to take a smaller increase or no increase at all. The teachers will be asked, if the pension and health benefits reform is passed, they'll be asked to contribute more to their plan. But as far as the school administration and the school boards, they're just going to have to look for ways of being even more prudent with the dollars they have. As I've said, our people do a great job. They just have to keep continuing to do so.
What's going on in Trenton?
Oh, there's a lot going on in Trenton right now. The governor has, for example, appointed 170 people to different commissions, one person to the state Supreme Court. But none of those appointments are going forward. They're not being pushed through because the Democrats have complete control of the Assembly and the Senate. They have a majority. And so when they have the majority, they choose which legislation is even discussed. Never mind what's passed. They decide what's going to be discussed at the committee level. The 170 appointments that the governor wants to put through, those folks would make changes that we need up in our area. We need protection from the Highlands Act. We need some of those other things. And we just have to get those appointments through.
While we have you here in the Mugs Media studio, what would you like to say to our Sussex County residents?
To all the Sussex County residents, I'd like you to have faith and confidence that with this governor, things will turn around. I see consumer confidence out there. Some of the business people are starting to get a little bit of confidence. The state of New Jersey has taken down a sign that said we're closed to business and replaced it with a sign that says we are open to business. We need to encourage businesses to not only stay in New Jersey, but come to New Jersey. That will have an effect that we'll all feel down the road. Your taxes are probably not going to go down immediately, but by getting jobs created in the state and watching how our dollars are being spent, as I've always said and the governor has said, we collect enough in taxes. We don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. So I would ask the folks to hang in there, continue to do what they've been doing, being prudent, and we'll turn this thing around.
Anything you'd like to add about school budgets in general?
I just repeat myself that we do a real good job. It's unfortunate that so much of our money has to go down into those other areas that don't do as good a job, and we're fighting each other. We're fighting amongst ourselves for our own money, and yet we're able to produce good students for a lot less money.
Well, thank you again. It's nice to see you in our studio for Skylands Weekly Channel 10.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now for this week's highlighted event. April 22nd, Earth Day is the annual U.S. celebration of environment and a time for Americans to look at the work still needed to protect the natural gifts of our planet. Although Earth Day has no central organization, several non-governed organizations keep track of thousands of local events that go on in schools and parks to mark the day. This day addresses that environmental awareness is a part of the country's lifestyles and thought, and will continue to assure that our country is aware of our surroundings. Coming up after the break, a continuation of coverage on local school budgets with a visit to the Sparta District. We'll show you this story next.